Good morning. Welcome to Thursday. Once again, we're here and we're talking about the dangers of chemicals in our skin and body care products. Do the topics ever get easier, Paula?
Oh, they just get deeper and deeper, right? Every day we get into this, but this is a hot one because what do I do every morning? I'm getting ready, I'm putting stuff on, layers of stuff, right? Eye
Yeah.
stuff, face stuff, body stuff, shower stuff. Like, this is a priority topic because we're using this stuff all the time, exposing ourselves potentially to a massive amount of chemicals if we're not paying attention to the ingredients that are in our products.
Yeah.
It's big.
And we don't know what's in them. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's discuss how we avoid the potential disruption to hormone balance with what we put on our skin. I think today we're going to agree with me, or maybe, back me up on this one. We're going to highly encourage you to read labels carefully. We do it with food, but let's read labels carefully and consider, using products that are marked paraben-free, phthalate-free. Look at what those ingredients are. What does the word fragrance mean? We're going to talk about that. And then consider doing further research on specific brands that you're using. I'm going to make a couple of recommendations right off the get-go. The first one is the Environmental Working Group. They have over 10,000 chemicals listed on there. You can go in there and say, give me the best sunscreens, and they've done the work, they've done the research. So that would be one resource I would recommend, ewg.org. That's ewg.org, Environmental Working Group, or the Skin Safe Products Group. And that's their website is just that, skinsafeproducts.com. Both of them have millions of hits a day for people doing research and looking for information. So we're going to give you an abbreviated list, some of the ones that we found in the most common products that we use, but there are so many, many, many more. And I encourage you, seek the help of a dermatologist for guidance on this. Our skin is the largest organ in the body, and it's always exposed to the outside world, and dermatologists specialize in the skin. So if you're stuck, if you don't know what to use, you don't know what's going on with your skin, dermatologists specialize in it. So we can't encourage you enough to check into with a dermatologist if you need some help on that. But Paula, let's start with fragrance. You talk about it all the time, essential oil fragrance versus all the other stuff that can be bundled under the word fragrance. Kick us off with that first chemical, and then I'll get into some of those other weird ones.
Yeah. Well, my body had been giving me signs for years because I have a very sensitive nose. So anytime I would be in the room with someone with perfume on, I'm smelling it, I'm getting a headache. I can't sit next to her. It's too much for my body. And it's my body saying, I don't know what to do with this. So whether it's a perfume that you're putting on your skin, or if it's the fragrance that's put into your body lotions and your shower gels and your shampoos, your body doesn't have the ability to process it. So it's fighting back. It's saying, hey, I'm trying to get your attention. Something's not happening here. But oftentimes that is not real loud. We're not hearing it like a screaming alarm, like a fire alarm, like, hey, massive headache, migraine, something serious or big that's going to stop us. But what happens over time as we're having these chemical versions of fragrances absorbed into our bodies, it's this accumulation of stuff over time, right? It's this bioaccumulation of all of these products until eventually our body's like, ugh, enough, I can't handle this. Versus I love to substitute, and I love to smell good, but I want to smell good so that my body can process it and handle it. It's not going to have adverse side effects for me. And that's where replacing it with essential oils has just been a big change over the past 5 years of making my perfumes with it, adding it to my lotions, making it something that's so simple. It's a plant. Our bodies were designed to process plants. And with our skin being our largest organ in our body, it covers everything. It covers all of our organs. It protects us. So whether it's my facial care, my hair care, my body care, my body is going to soak that in, and it's going to be circulating through my body within 20 seconds. So do I want chemicals running around my body? Or do I want things that are it's going to recharge my cells and give me that energy that I need, help me process things throughout my body, help my body absorb it, do the things that I want to do, minimize the wrinkles, have that smooth, glowing skin, do all of the things that we're intending them to do without causing a disruption to our hormones or our gut balance and causing other issues and problems down the road. We want to simplify that. So everything that we're putting on our skin, think about it like your stomach. You are metabolizing this, you are soaking this in, just like the food that we put into our body and our stomach has to process. Everything that we put on our skin is trying to process. Many of these chemicals we're going to talk about today, our skin has no idea what to do with. And it causes a little of disruption, challenges. And it may not be a lot over time or a lot each
Application.
product, but when we put product after product after product after product on, we're getting into these higher levels of chemicals that are not safe. All of this stuff is on the shelf with naughty chemicals in it, right? So we feel like, oh, they sell it here at this wonderful store, it must be okay. And that's where we really need to be our own advocate, reading those labels, figuring that out so that we can determine what's really best for our body, how we can protect ourselves, and how we can make better choices to figure that out going forward. It's a little bit of a project in the beginning to learn some of these weird words, but once you know them, they are stuck in your head. You can't unlearn them and you can't stop paying attention to them because you know the impact that it has on your hormone balance. And I don't need anything else challenging my hormones.
Perfect. Yeah. I'm going to get in. I think I have eight categories that I will touch on real quick and how they disrupt, like what actions are these causing? So we've all heard of parabens. It's kind of the most prevalent out there. You see a lot of people say, a lot of products saying paraben free or phthalate free. So those are 1 and 2 that I want to touch. Parabens are found in our cosmetics and our personal care products like makeup, moisturizers, and deodorants. That's the lymph nodes, breast cancer, deodorants, parabens, chemicals, and anything synthetic are not user friendly. So what do we use for alternatives in the area of makeup, moisturizer, and deodorants? They can all act as endocrine, our endocrine system, our communication system of hormones throughout the body. These synthetic or chemical versions can actually act as endocrine disruptors, mimicking our body's own natural estrogen or hormones, estrogen, progesterone, estradiol, all of those hormones that fill the lock and key system. We talked about this the last 2 weeks. Every cell in our body has a receptor site, and the hormone sits in that receptor site. It turns it open so that our communication system gets back online and can communicate from our brain through our nervous system. When we use xenoestrogens or anything that disrupts that process, chemicals or synthetic, it can smash down and break that ability for the lock and key to work. So parabens in those types of products, makeup, moisturizer, deodorants, phthalates found in nail polishes, perfumes, other lotions may have them, hairsprays. These again interfere with hormones, but predominantly in the reproductive system. So my young moms out there, people who are still wanting to have babies, what are you using in the area of hairsprays, nail polishes, lotions, perfumes? As Paula mentioned, we can still smell good, but we can use plant-based products as a replacement for some of these. And we're going to get into more samples. I just want to run through some of the chemicals for you to be aware of as you're discreetly, reading all those labels in the stores. You've probably heard of bisphenol A, especially if you're moms, you don't want baby bottles that have that BPA, bisphenol A in it. Sometimes we're substituting with BPB, bisphenol B. Jury's still out. We don't know if that's good or bad yet either. With adults, we would prefer you to use stainless steel or glass. Avoid plastics because these chemicals are found in plastic containers. When we're drinking out of plastic bottles, we're using plastic cups. The water can absorb that plastic and we drink it. It gets into our system, but we're also holding and touching plastic items, plastic bottles. There's so many plastics that our body is touching. And as Paula mentioned, we can absorb that plastic, the chemicals from that plastic in our skin. And then we put that plastic bottle of water on a shipping container. We ship it across the ocean, whether it's from overseas or Fiji or some other place. It's baking. Those aren't refrigerated usually that they're stored in. How hot are those bottles getting, and how much is leaking into or leaching into the water or the food that's in that product? Do you want to drink that and bring it into your body? Would you be better off to, find a spring water option instead? Paula touched on fragrances, of course, and then triclosan. We have been obsessed with washing hands because of COVID and coming out of that, and everybody was using this. Well, triclosan is found in those antibacterial soaps, body washes, and hand sanitizers. Did you know that there are alternatives that use essential oils? We don't have to expose ourselves to triclosan, which affects the thyroid hormone and could contribute to antibiotic resistance. So we want to save antibiotics for the big diseases. If we are using products that contribute to the resistance, that block the ability for antibiotics to work within our system, our diseases can get stronger. So do we want to use triclosan, or would we rather use an alternative? Because there's one available. A couple more here. Oxybenzone, you've probably heard of that. It's present in sunscreens. It can penetrate the skin, and then we go outside and we bake in the sun, push it, stronger and deeper into our bodies. It is a huge estrogen disruptor. So where are you at? If you're premenopausal and you're struggling with estrogens already, what kind of sunscreen are you using? I'm going to tie that also to nano zinc oxide and nano titanium dioxide. Nanotechnology causes it to be really, really small, and it can pass the blood-brain barrier. And so when we're using those chemicals that can pass the blood-brain barrier, now we could have foggy thinking, we can disrupt different functions of the brain. So if you're going to use sunscreen that have zinc and titanium in them, perhaps non-nano chemicals would be a better choice. And then we do have some mineral sunscreens that we can get into and talk about as well. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to save heavy metals and petroleum products. Let's give some examples of some of the things that I talked about already, Paula. Let's makeup, lotion, hairspray, sunscreens, and bug spray. What do you think? Some sample ideas, things, products that you would recommend in those areas.
That's a good question. It is difficult to find the products that you're looking for. There's tons of DIYs, of course. There's lots of carrier oils that are non-comedogenic, easy to use on the skin. That's not going to cause breakouts and acne. Jojoba oil and other products like that are great as a carrier, and then adding your own DIY products. But most of us don't have time tinkering and creating lotions and potions that fit into our lifestyle. So finding a company that has a basis for making sure that their products are safe is really important. Young Living is my first source of all of those products. When I want to know about my skincare, I'm going to look to some of those. I've tried to DIY it before, but you end up buying a lot more supplies to make a single item. And then you end up actually spending more because, of course, you don't use all of that to make the one thing. So I find making stuff that's already been created, blended, put together in the right sequence is far better because I'm not the chemist to bring those together. But it is fun to try and experiment. And I'm happy to share some of our DIY recipes if you're ready to dive into trying to make some of your own lotions. I have a great happy skin cream that I do use that for my body all the time. And that's a base of coconut oil and frankincense and lavender oil, which is so nourishing for the skin. I use that for 90% of things. The other products, I'm going to go to sources that I trust. How about you, Lisa? Where do you find yours, or do you DIY?
I used to teach a class on DIY. In fact, I have an ebook that I've had up on the Herbalist group. Many of the folks in this Herbalist group probably have already downloaded it. It's at the top of the page. You can grab it. And that's all of my cleaning products. I don't think I have anything out there for skincare because we were going to do that in a class format. But just some of the ingredients Paula touched on were jojoba oil and coconut oil. Other ingredients that we might find that we can replace with, replace the chemicals with are shea butter, avocado oil, olive oil, argan oil,
Rosehip oil.
rosehip oil, those types of products, and mixing them together, like our butters or our thicker items with the liquid items, like a liquid coconut oil or olive oil or grapeseed oil. Mixing them together gives us a thinner consistency. Preservatives that we can use in those, instead of using the paraben as a preservative, we can use vitamin E or rosemary oil or grapeseed extract are great preservatives. Another one is tea tree oil for skincare products for people, our youth who might be struggling with some issues. Rather than grabbing all those really strong chemicals, maybe a tea tree oil would be something a little bit milder and still get the job done without introducing so many chemicals. We can't completely avoid chemicals in our life, but if we can start to minimize some of those. I mentioned non-nano zinc oxide and titanium oxide, safer alternatives to chemical sunscreens. Things like, I know you make your own. I use carrot seed oil and lavender and aloe vera, because all of those have some natural SPF. Am I missing anything on the ingredients for sunscreen?
I use raspberry seed oil.
Yes. Yeah, the raspberry seed oil, another one, can be the base, and then you add some of those other essential oils into that, and then having aloe vera as a juice. Did you know, have you ever been to the Bahamas where you see the people walking along the beach, or the Caribbean? They'll be carrying these huge aloe leaves that they've cut in half, and they go, would you like a massage? Would you like a massage? And they start to put that on you, and aloe is a natural sunscreen. So that, people in the Caribbean and those, Pacific communities down there wear aloe. They just open it up and put aloe on their skin. When I lived in Nevada, I did the same thing. I had an aloe garden in my backyard. I had like 18 aloe plants, and people would come and harvest aloe leaves just for the fun of it. Here, I think I have 6 aloe plants. I brought one with me, and it made babies, and they've all grown and blown up. But I just cut off a piece of the leaf, cut it in half, and just rub it on my body. And that's a mild sunscreen, but it seems to work for me. It's not a sunblock. Titanium and the zinc oxides, those are actually a block. They don't let sun come through them. I tend more towards the sunscreens because those are more of a natural product for me to be able to use. We mentioned essential oils, for fragrances, for perfumes. We do have some rollerball recipes already on the Plant Power Half Hour website with some body lotions and perfumes. I think we have on there because we did a class on perfume. I don't know what else is on there.
Do we have our bug spray recipe up there too? Because obviously
so.
Our skin absorbs our all of those ingredients as well. The other thing that's really fun and easy to make is lip balms. And lip balms, almost all of them are, you look at the ingredients, it's a petroleum product or a synonym for petroleum in there. Think about that. You're putting that on your lips. Not only is your lips and skin absorbing it, but you're actually ingesting a bunch of that. Your body doesn't have the ability to process that. So making a simple recipe using beeswax is so fun and so easy. to do. And it's a fun group experiment because, you can make like a dozen at a time and everyone can bring some home too. So we can share some of those recipes as well.
Love that. Yeah. Beeswax with a little coconut oil and lather it on your lips. I love it. The sun just came out and I'm getting sparkles on my face.
I
I have
love
my
it.
window, I have my window open and it's coming through a chandelier. That's pretty funny. I mentioned I wanted to come back to the last two that we're going to talk about today, and that's heavy metals and the petroleum products. So we'll start with heavy metals. Some of our lesser expensive makeups and deodorants, if you buy things at the dollar store and they might be imported from other countries, they can contain things like lead and mercury and arsenic and cadmium and nickel and other stuff. So those are all hormonal disruptors. They can disrupt the activity of our endocrine system and how it works to communicate from our brain all the way through the rest of our system. When these mimicking hormones enter our system, they trick the body maybe into initiating processes that it normally wouldn't do. We can cause overexcitement with some of these products. We can cause our body to release more or less of the hormones that we need. And then we can also completely block the intended hormone in carrying out its function. And so I encourage you, less is more. We don't need 50 products underneath the sink in our bathroom. We can actually we can accomplish what it is that we're trying to do with hydration and moisture and makeup and fragrance with a lot less and better quality. That's what, when I use the word encourage, we're encouraging you to read the labels. We're encouraging you to try other types of products to see if they're equally as effective as what you're currently using, but more important, safer and easier on the body. So heavy metals can generate oxidative stress and induce, it's called reactive oxygen species. So it's called the ROS, and it causes cellular damage. It can affect our endocrine tissue and disrupt our hormones. So that's way too nerdy. You don't need to know about all that stuff. But let's be concerned about how we are disrupting the genetics of our body and choose alternatives to that. So I think that's all I'll say about heavy metals. We do get them in our lesser expensive products. They are filled in. Not to say that they can't be in more expensive products. They're just really common in lesser expensive products, because they have to put something in there to make it work. They have to put something in there to be a preservative, and maybe vitamin E could be too expensive, or grapefruit extract or rosemary oil. So looking for those alternatives. That's why the ingredient labels are so important. And then the other one I'll touch on are petroleum products. Did you know that mineral oil and petroleum jelly are derivatives of petroleum products? So what does that mean? When they make gas and oil, there's a chemical that comes off of that, and they refine it down. It's not just gas and oil, it's actually used in natural coal production and crude oil production and gasoline production. And that stuff that comes off of that is refined down and can be used in our skincare products. Skincare products that Paula mentioned are, these products can get into our bloodstream and into our organs and in our tissue in 20 to 30 seconds. So again, what are you using? Is there an alternative to mineral oil or petroleum products that may be a little bit safer? Yeah, there is. The coconut butters, the shea butters, the plant-based products that you can use. If you can eat the oil, maybe it's a little bit better choice than like a mineral oil. So oils like coconut oil, grapeseed oil, avocado oil, raspberry seed oil, rosehip oil. There's lots of different alternatives, but if you don't know about it, you just don't know what to look for. I don't want to be completely negative here, because it is important that the Cosmetic Ingredient Review Board, it's called the CIR, Cosmetic Ingredient Review Panel, I think maybe, and the FDA and different scientific authorities and regulatory agencies have deemed mineral oil and petroleum safe. They have deemed it safe. So I'm not trying to scare you that you've used it for a long time. And when it's properly refined, they consider that to be non-toxic and safe for use. However, there's some of us, me included in that group. I've had skin cancer for, over 30 years. I was diagnosed at a very young age, and it was from a chemical exposure. So I'm, maybe a little bit more passionate about this product than some people, because it's been my life, my whole life. I'm in my 50s now. So I found that making a better choice in the long term is probably going to suit me when there's so many unknowns about using these products that are deemed reliably safe if they're prepared properly. We just want to open your eyes up to the other alternatives. So you kind of smooth that out, Paula. I don't want to be on a soapbox and be too preachy about this, but I've experienced the negative side of it, and so if I can cause you to avoid that with your children, or avoid that as you age, going through menopause or going through the cycles of life, if we can make a few changes now and save us a whole lot of discomfort in the future, that's what we want to be talking about today. That's what we're encouraging you to do and change.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, I love your point about if it's a cheap product, it's probably got some nasty stuff in it. Once I learned about all of this, I really needed to take action. I felt guilty for all the prior years that I used all this stuff that was causing my hormones to get all out of whack. And I also felt guilty over what I used on my children when they were younger. And I just didn't know. I have to let that go, but I know now, and I can make better choices going forward. Now I know when I walk into the store, especially when I see like the little kids trinkets or the play makeup or the little lip glosses and things like that, like those are the things that we want to be aware of to make better choices. Yet we're not gonna, maybe buy our children play makeup that's expensive or high end, but we're going to be more selective about the gifts that we give to our children, to nieces, nephews, family and friends, birthday party, fun stuff. We really want to just have more awareness over those little conveniences to make sure that they're really truly safe, and that they can be something that is not going to affect their growth, their puberty, their development. We want them to be able to get normal cycles without all of these other discomforts, and continue to have that fertile life as they age and move into adulthood as well. So everything that we can do now to make better choices going forward is going to be much easier. And for many of us, when we first learn about this, our home is already filled with stuff. You can go full on all clean out, throw it out if it's got the bad ingredients, or you've already been using it, gradually replace things. As you use it up, just don't buy any more of that. Choose something that's a better, cleaner alternative that doesn't have the chemicals. And over time, you can upgrade your whole bathroom cabinet, your makeup drawer, your shower, all of the areas of your home, and move through that. Or if you're a one and done, fill that trash can and let's find you some new options. If you want ideas, reach out to Lisa and I. We can help you, point you in the right direction to the favorite products that we love, that we purchase, or the DIY recipes that we love experimenting with as well.
I do have that. I think it's Essential Oils 101 on the Plant Power half-hour website, and it's 6 days of introduction to alternatives. So if you're interested in doing that, certainly you can put your name and email in, and it'll just show up in your email box for 6 days, and you can get that information. The other thing that I will say is, remember, even natural or organic products can cause reactions and sensitivities in some people. So always patch test your skin or patch test your hair or some, test everything and just see how you react. And then you can always consult a dermatologist if you have skin concerns or if you need more information. So I definitely don't want you to just live off of the advice. We've only mildly touched the surface with 8 of these. There are so many chemicals that we're exposed to, but these are the ones that are most present, that you probably have already heard of. And we just wanted to bring awareness to how some of them can be disruptive to our systems and give you some alternatives and places to go look for more information. The EWG.org and the Safe Skin Products, safeskinproducts.com, 2 websites that you can actually put in a product that you're using and see what the rating is. It gives it a rating of safe and then level of danger for that. And so I would encourage you, just take a look at what you have, and then you can always switch. Even if it takes you a year to switch out products in your home for something else, finishing up what you have and switching to another alternative, it'll be worth it in the long run. Final thoughts?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, this is a big topic. Ask questions, comment, and let us know how else we can help support you and point you in the direction of those websites and resources too. What are we talking about next week, Lisa?
So we introduced hormones. We talked about in the body. This week was on the body. And next week, we're going to talk about our environment. How does our environment affect our hormones? And things that we're exposed to and we don't even know it. So we'll get into that next week. Hope you all come back.
Awesome.
See you on Thursday.